You are getting started, building your first resume web shop. This particular web shop is designed to provide you with information that will allow you to create your first resume. In this web shop, I will discuss reasons you might use a resume format, and content typically included on a resume. Please note that the example content presented is meant to be sample information to get you started and is therefore not inclusive of every student's exact experiences and background. If you have questions specific to content for your resume, you are welcome to connect with your Gateway counselor to discuss further. And finally, this web shop will provide information about what you should not include on your resume. While not an exhaustive list, the following are reasons you might need a resume. A resume might be required as part of a program application. In the Gateway Career Center, resumes are requested as part of applications for the externship program, the Career Tracks program, and the Summer Stipend program. Informational interviews are a great way to begin networking and to explore areas of interest. The person you are conducting the informational interview with may request a copy of your resume to learn a bit more about you. When applying for on-campus jobs, internships, research opportunities, and full or part-time jobs, submitting a resume is the first step toward the goal of getting invited for an interview. Before you begin building your resume, it is important to keep in mind some standard resume formatting protocols. With very few exceptions, your resume should only be one page in length. Many employers will not read beyond the first page, and an employer's initial review of your resume will take place in as little as 10 to 15 seconds, so it's important to make that one page count. As you have more information to add, one way to use the space on your resume more efficiently is by setting your margins. All four margins can be as small as ½ an inch if you need them to be, but never smaller. It is best to be conservative with the font and style of your resume. The most common fonts to use are Times New Roman, Arial, or Calibri. Never go smaller than 11-point font size in Times New Roman, 10-point font size in Arial, or 11-point font size in Calibri. A chronological format is the most common way to set up a resume and the one advised for traditional college students. It is important to decide how you want your resume to look and then be consistent all the way through. Keep in mind the value of using strong action verbs to effectively describe your experiences. You want to use descriptive, quantifiable language to summarize your responsibilities and accomplishments. Okay. So with that background information, let's begin building a resume. The top of your resume will include your name, email, cell phone number, and address. If you wish, you may include your pronouns, and if you have a LinkedIn profile, you may include that link. Start by using your full name at the top. It's best to use your Lafayette email address, but if you choose to use something else, please be sure it's professional. Anything questionable will likely be viewed as unprofessional and could be reason for an employer to immediately dismiss your resume. You may include both your school and home addresses or one or the other. The phone number you include on your resume is a very important way for employers to reach you. Be sure the voicemail function of your phone is set up. Record a professional greeting for your callers rather than using the system-generated message. Be sure to regularly check your voicemail messages and clear out your voicemail box so employers don't get a mailbox full message when calling you. Next on your resume comes your objective. An objective is a statement that orients the reader to know what you have an interest in. Objectives are recommended when you are submitting a resume without a cover letter. If you are submitting a cover letter along with your resume, you do not need to include an objective on your resume. Your objective should be clear, concise, and accurate for each opportunity you apply for. Always mention the type of opportunity you are seeking, the field you are interested in, and what skills you hope to utilize related to the opportunity. So in the example shown here, the opportunity this student seeks is a summer internship. The field of interest is communications, and this student hopes to utilize creative writing and research skills. Depending on what types of opportunities you find yourself applying for, you may need to change your objective to match the opportunity. For example, you don't want your objective to state you wish to obtain a summer internship in marketing when you are applying for an entry-level position in consulting. The education section of your resume is going to vary depending on how far along you are in your college career. For example, if you are a first-year student, you may not have decided on a major yet. So instead of writing English, you might want to write the phrase considering English, or just the word undecided. Be sure to update your resume once you decide on your major. If your GPA is 3.0 or higher, include it on your resume. If not, leave it off until it is at least 3.0, or unless an employer has specifically requested that you list it. You may wish to include your major GPA if it is higher than your overall GPA. Just be sure you specifically state that it's your major GPA, so there is no chance an employer would think you are misrepresenting your information. However, until you have completed the majority of your major courses, it's best just to list your overall GPA. If you are a first year or sophomore, it is very appropriate to include your high school information in your education section. You may decide to remove your high school information beginning junior year. You may include a list of relevant coursework. If you include classes you are currently taking, be sure to use the asterisk as shown here to indicate you are currently taking the class, but have not yet completed it. Don't forget to include applicable information regarding honors and/or awards. Honors and awards will vary per person. Information within any section of your resume should be listed in reverse chronological order. That means that the most recent information in that section is listed first. If you are a first year or sophomore and have college-related honors or awards, list those first and then list any relevant high school honors and awards. The experience section of your resume will vary depending on what you've done and how far along you are in your college career. Younger students will likely only have one experience section in which they will list summer jobs and/or current jobs on campus. As you progress through your college career, it may make sense to include additional sections. Your experiences can include ones that were paid or unpaid, summer jobs, internships, externships, project-related coursework, and research. As a result, you might find it helpful to use headings such as related experience, project experience, or research experience, depending on how you'd like to highlight your information. As already mentioned, information in each section of your resume should be listed in reverse chronological order so that your current or most recent past experience is listed first. Descriptions are your opportunity to provide information about your responsibilities and accomplishments and should be long enough to adequately summarize the experience. Descriptive statements should begin with action verbs that effectively describe your experience. Be sure to pay close attention to the tense of the action verbs. If you are describing a current experience, such as a job on campus, your verbs should be present tense. If you are describing an experience from your past, such as last summer's job, your verbs should be past tense. Experiences outside the classroom often provide students with significant and valuable opportunities that lead to learning new knowledge, skills, and abilities. As a result, it is very important to include those experiences on your resume. Each student's experiences are going to be different, so think about what you've done so far, keeping in mind that for first years, your most current or relevant experiences are likely from high school. Have you taken on leadership roles? Does your background include a significant amount of volunteer experience? Are you an athlete? Or have you joined a club or organization? The answers to these questions should help you define the types of extracurricular experiences you've had and what headings you want to use on your resume to describe them. Membership in a club or organization can be listed without explanation under an activity section. However, significant leadership roles or volunteer experiences may warrant a description. Listing skills on your resume provides an easy way for the reader to see at a glance the types of skills you have that might be applicable to the opportunities they have available. When listing computer skills, it's best to specifically name the software you know so as not to misrepresent the skills you have. But it can also be helpful if an employer conducts keyword searches. If you only list Microsoft Office and an employer does a keyword search on Excel, for example, your resume would not pop out in the search results. When listing language skills, it is important to qualify your knowledge with words such as fluent, conversant, or basic. Keep in mind that an interviewer might decide to speak to you in the language you have listed, so be sure to adequately describe your level of knowledge. If your classes require lab work, it is best to keep track of what you learn so you don't forget what to add to your resume. Employers are often impressed by the lab skills Lafayette students have and the equipment they are exposed to, so don't underestimate the importance of including that information on your resume. So in putting all the pieces together, the sample shown here gives you an idea of what your resume could potentially look like. Take note of the consistency with which this student's information is placed on the page. For example, each section heading is written in capital letters and bolded. Each entry in the experience section is set up the same way, and all the dates are lined up on the right margin. As important as it is to know what to include on your resume, it's just as important to know what not to include. The statement, references available upon request, is not necessary at the bottom of your resume. There is no need to waste that line of space with something an employer already knows you will provide if they ask for it. Your resume is already all about you, so there's no need to waste space using personal pronouns such as I and my in your descriptions. Don't assume that an employer will understand an acronym you've listed. Unless it is something widely known, such as CPR, it is best to spell it out. References, including the names and contact information of past supervisors, should not be listed on your resume. That information should be listed on a separate document. Personal information related to age, race, and national origin should not be included on your resume, nor should you include a photograph of yourself. Keep in mind that your resume will forever be a work in progress. You will find yourself updating, changing, adding, and deleting information for many years to come. You should review your resume at least once a semester to ensure you are including your most relevant experiences and that you are highlighting the experiences most applicable to what you find yourself applying for. And last but not least, always, always, always have someone else review your resume to be sure it does not contain any errors. Since most employers receive resumes in large numbers, they actively seek out reasons to disregard resumes in order to whittle down their stack to a more reasonable number. A typo on your resume would be a primary reason to dismiss it, even if you have the experiences they are looking for. So never underestimate the importance of professionally written, error-free documents. After you have completed your resume draft, the next step is to have it reviewed. You can accomplish this in a few ways. review the Gateway Career Center calendar for dates and times of document review days, utilize the Gateway Career Center drop-in hours, or meet with your Gateway counselor. And for further reference, a variety of resume samples are available online through the resource section of your Handshake account, or hard copies are available in the Gateway Career Center. Thank you for viewing this webshop. I hope you found it informative. If you have any questions, please contact the Gateway Career Center at 610-330-5115 or email us at careers@lafayette.edu. Thank you.